everybody, how's it going? Screezilla here, and I hope you're all well. And welcome to a rather uncomfortable video. This is a video on the Storm Artilleriewagen 48. Sorry, I had to remember the 48 there. So it's 2012 48, which was a prototype built by both of us after the Second World War. It was built in about 1949, I think, off the very top of my head. Single prototype built with a 120mm howitzer autoloader on board, with 6 rounds in the sack, basically, in its sort of position to fire very, very quickly, about 1.2 seconds between each shot, and a crew of 3. A incredibly overpowered vehicle. One of the most broken vehicles Gaijin has added into the game, and that's saying a lot because the KA-50 exists. Yes, this may be more broken than the KA-50, which is impressive. More pay to win than it. Again, which is impressive. Gaijin, just keep outdoing yourself sometimes. So what I'm going to show you here is a video. This is a pay-to-lose video, or a pay-to-win video, depending on which way you put it, because essentially I'm paying to kill a lot of tanks. So we've already got one kill, easy kill on a Panzer IV, I think it was, through the side, nice and easy. And this is where the tank excels, is going through the side armour, because this thing has a devastating gun on it. The 120mm gun on board has a serious shell in it, with over 800 grams of explosives. Sorry, 800 kilograms would be incredible. 800 grams of explosives. They are relatively slow velocity though, so that is one of the saving graces of this thing, but it's still ridiculously overpowered. It's still ludicrous. It still should not be at its BR. It should have gone for sale, maybe. Let's just look at this Panzer IIIJ here. Actually hit the top there, ricochet, and we're going to hit the tracks there and take out the radiator. So it's not an instant win if you sort of buff your shot a little bit, but if your shot sort of enters, you're done. You're also pretty open to things like planes because you are an open top vehicle. However, most of your crew are undercover. It's really just your your driver that's in danger generally. That's the only one that's going to get hit, as there is a metal sheet over the loader and the gunner, or commander, I guess, and gunner. But this thing is just so stupid. It's ridiculous. It's a rank 2 vehicle. It's 3.3 BR. It's kind of based off the SAV even 43, which was based off the Panzer 43T. Sorry, 38T. Sorry. Which, of course, was based off the Czechoslovakian tank of the time, and I cannot remember the name of that tank off the top of my head right now. Anyway, straight through the side of a Stug there, which is kind of our counterpart. It will be kind of the counterpart of the SAV range, which will be the SAV 43 and they made a 105 variant as well, so 10.5. So that's going to be the regular tech tree variants, which are basically the Swedish variants of the Marder or Stug, depending on which way you want to look at it. It's going to be much less egregious than this vehicle, though, with a 75mm gun and a 105mm gun on board. I'm not sure if they actually have auto-loading, because I haven't actually looked at that yet, but they're still going to be pretty damn strong. I imagine they will actually have a better gun velocity than this thing, because, as I said, this thing's gun velocity is garbage. CKD-LT, that's the one. The Czechoslovakian tank, there we go. I was frantically looking through my notes. Yeah, so anyway, back to this vehicle, which was, as I say, a prototype. When there was one built, it was tested, it was not really needed. It was okay, but it was a bit late, you know, it was 1949 into the 1950s. But if this came out in the Second World War, it probably would have been devastating just because of the just ridiculous firing rate. As you can see, just the firing rate on this thing is madness. The 6 rounds are so quick to go. Now, this is your blessing and your curse, because if you fire through those 6 rounds too quickly, you know, if you fire all 6 rounds off in 7 seconds, then you're going to be in problems, because it takes a while for them to get them back from the ready rack. And that could be the way of balancing it, is making it a longer reload in that respect. Unfortunately, it's not really that bad. Towards the end of this video, when I'm pretty much firing a shot every couple of seconds, that's when I start running out of ammunition and start running into problems, but until then it's not actually become an issue, and I've not really had much of an issue in matches. This thing probably excels at just running around places and actually scooching around rather than sitting still. I do say in the after video, just check out Napalm Rat's video on this, because he just shows this off to its strengths and is a much better tanker than me as well. So we've got a Panzer III L there, sorry, coming around, and we're just backing up into this corner, just trying to get nice and comfortable into a spot and sort of seeing what's around. We're trying to spot things and keep an eye out on things. And as I said, this tank is just, it makes you feel a bit icky when you're playing it as well. And it's frustrating, because this is the kind of thing that Gaijin keep on adding to the game. They're not adding premiums that are balanced and, you know, reasonably fair at their BR. They're adding things that are broken and untested. And more we're seeing that with the game. We're seeing that things are coming out that are completely untested and not really being looked at. And it's getting very frustrating. They're putting things up on the hype server. It's not a test server, because they don't test anything on it more. They're putting things up on the hype server constantly and just not letting it be tested for balance, not letting it be tested by people to see if it's actually going to work. They just shove it straight into the game and go, here, it's in beta, it's being tested. It's not a good enough excuse. You shouldn't have something on a live server that is broken effectively. And currently Sweden does have 2 vehicles in that category. I'll go into that a little bit later in the video, but they really do have 2 vehicles that are just overperforming. And it's impossible. Like, this team trounced us. Like, they absolutely dominated us. However, not from my trying, I guess. I wasn't even trying that hard. This video isn't really a show of skill. This is a show of sitting and camping in an extremely overpowered vehicle. We're going to get into a few firefights here with a Marder and a couple of vehicles cresting around this corner, because they know where I am and they're trying to pick me out. We've lost a crew member, I think, or one's extremely injured, but that's not really affecting us too much. So our reload's down, but, well, we're an autoloader with six rounds in the basket. So effectively, once we fire, we start reloading again, we start putting one back into back ready to go, sort of thing. And as I said, this causes problems. The old autoloader mechanic of making it so you use all the rounds and then have to load it was not great, but at least it made things kind of balanced for the autoloaders. And I'm not sure how you would equate that to this vehicle. Maybe make it so there's only 2 left when this happens. So we get shot here by this Marder, and you can just see I'm just moving up and take a shot straight in there, ammo done. He shot through to my engine, but no armor is best armor. He shot straight through the tank. Didn't kill any of my crew, and it's testament to the design of the vehicle, which is, you know, the post-war Swedish design sort of ethos of making a vehicle that is extremely friendly to the crew, and it's not going to have casualties. that's one of the things the Swedish did after the war. They wanted, it was more about quality rather than quantity, and you can really see that with this tank, the way it's laid out. You've got the 3 crew members, and they're very spread out, they're very well positioned to not get taken out with ease, and that makes this tank a problem. Also, as I said, no armour is best armour, because you've only got about 30mm of armour at the front. Everything will overpen you, and it's very rare that a shell will actually go off. Now we've got a Stug here coming around, and we take a shot, we miss, we've reloaded, we take a shot, we kill its driver, we take another shot, and we kill it. That's it. It couldn't do anything to counter us there. We fluffed the shot as well. We missed, we made a mistake, we had problems. The Panzer IV there couldn't really do anything to stop us. Missed the shot slightly, but that's about it. The only thing that caused me problem was the flak Panzer here, which, you know, of course I didn't hull break when I hit it, because hull break works 100% of the time, 1% of the time. When you need it to happen, it never works, of course. But it took a squad of 3 people to take me down in the end. And a bit of a spoiler, you know, we are going to get taken down here shortly. But there needs to be 3 people to do it in an SPAA and 2 tank destroyers. And yes, if you're positioned well and you've got a very good vehicle, that should be an absolute, you know, that should be a thing that you can do. You can do these last stands. But this vehicle just cheeses so much. Marder there, we just hit it. We managed to take out the driver. Second shot, we take out the crew member. Again, we completely fluffed that and really didn't get punished for it. Now the SPA's got away, and we're going to try and get around there, but we sort of notice that there is something around near us, and there we go, we can see the track, so I think, well, we'll try for it. Try for the cheeky, can't say my words at the moment. Cheeky 10th kill. He's just fired. We're going to round the corner, and because I make a mistake of hitting the wall bear, gets lucky, and they finally knock me out. And that is the end of that match in this extremely overpowered pay-to-win vehicle. Okay, let's head back to the hangar and look at the post-game rewards. So, as we can see there, that was not exactly pay-to-win. More pay-to-lose, but still win a fair bit. So, we ended up making 54,000 silver lines from that match without too much trouble. And that was a loss. And that was probably the easiest Ground Forces battle I've ever had, apart from at the end there where there was like about 3 or 4 tanks ganging up on me. But this thing is ridiculous. The FM48, the SAV, it's way too strong. 9 kills in 1 game is a fairly good game in Ground Forces. You know, it's not unheard of, it's not impossible. A good Ground Forces player will generally get it. With just 1 vehicle, though, it can be quite tricky. And when it's that easy, that's when it becomes scary. Now, my biggest fear is with the Swedish Ground Forces line of what are these things going to be like. Now, we have 2 Swedish vehicles in game that are currently, well, dominating. The T-18B2, for example, is absolutely dominant, and it's already received its first stealth nerf, that of removing its air brakes. So let's just quickly look at the awards there. So you just see Heavy Metal Fury, like a lot of money from rewards, not huge amounts, but a lot. But yeah, 9 kills. That's just ridiculous. It's silly, and I've played about 3 or 4 games in this thing. I can't remember the exact amount. So there we go. So 4 games. 4 games. 17 kills in 4 games. 6 deaths, 17 kills. 61 deaths, 103 kills. T-18B2, of course. There is definitely an imbalance in these vehicles, and there's definitely an imbalance in how they're performing. Now, how do you fix that? Well, that's where it becomes tricky, because how do you fix a vehicle that is very, 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 very strong, such as the FM48. Well, I don't know, in all honesty. The loading time, for sure, that needs to be changed. The armour is incredibly thin, but no armour is best armour. And the crew survivability is extremely good on this vehicle. Just simply, if we look at the actual crew in here, because there are 3 men in there, there's a lot of gap, and shells tend to miss. And of course, Swedish design was that of crew survival. It was a big thing in Swedish design. It was more about the quality of the vehicle, not the quantity. And of course, quality of troops, because you can't. It's harder to retrain personnel. You know, things like the Sherman had the advantage of being very easy to produce and having a lot of people to use it. There were stories of people basically hosing down Shermans and the inside of Shermans at Operation Overlord, and just chucking new crews in there as the old ones were taken out wounded. Now, a lot of those crews were not killed, but they were wounded enough to make it that they had to hose the blood out. You know, and the Swedish design ethos was more of the, well, we're going to make it so we don't lose crew because they're the most important part. A 120mm autocannon is extremely powerful. A BR 3.3, it's borderline ludicrous, especially when you consider the amount of filler on board. So if we look at the filler on board the M50 shell, 890 grams of explosive mass. That is a lot. It's a fairly hefty shell. It's an absolute pay-to-win vehicle, and that's all I can say about it, really. It is pay-to-win. It maybe not win as in game win, but pay to kill, pay to dominate. That might be it. I know I've seen games on these where there have been much better players than I. I imagine if I was a bit more hectic and running around the map, it would have been a little bit more interesting gameplay-wise. I would recommend Napalm Rat. He's done a very good video on this already, explaining the fact that this thing is just ludicrous. But this is the kind of issue that we're going to start getting in War Thunder more and more, and these are the vehicles that are coming into War Thunder more and more. These vehicles that are extremely unbalanced on the premium side of things. Now, of course, we don't know Sweden's regular tech tree yet. We don't know what they're getting, but we can imagine there's going to be similar-ish type things, possibly a lot of autoloaders. You know, you sort of know the Swedish design already. The French were quite strong at launch, especially their 4.7 BR range. They were just nigh unbeatable because of things like the jumbo and stuff like that. There's always an imbalance when things come to the game. China maybe not so because it's copy and paste, but I can see Sweden being a real problem. It has been in the air, mainly just for the fact of the T-18B2, because it is just very, very good. It's not really the fault of the plane, it's the fault of maybe the BR, maybe it needs to go up to 4.0 or something. Similar for the SAV FM48, maybe that needs to go up to 3.8 or 4.0 maybe. It's not got the penetration though, and that's where it becomes problematic, because the shell has only got a sort of 95mm pen value, so it does start struggling when it faces things like KV1s, KV2s, any of the KV models, but it is just too strong where it sits. It's dominating the game, and 2.3 players have no chance against it generally. Its reload is too quick. It's just way too strong. Anyway, I'm going to end the video there. And I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching, and this is me, Scree, out. Bye-bye.